Hello everyone, welcome to Blues Devotions. Today we're going to be reading from Luke because today is Palm Sunday. So we're going to be looking at the story of when Jesus came to Jerusalem as king. Luke 19:28-44. After Jesus had said this, he went on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. As he approached Bethphage and Bethany at the hill called the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' say, 'The Lord needs it.'" Those who were sent ahead went and found it just as he had told them. As they were untying the colt, its owners asked them, "Why are you untying the colt?" They replied, "The Lord needs it." They brought it to Jesus, threw their cloaks on the colt, and put Jesus on it. As he went along, people spread their cloaks on the road. When he came near the place where the road goes down the Mount of Olives, the whole crowd of disciples began joyfully to praise God in loud voices for all the miracles they had seen. "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest." Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." "I tell you," he replied, "if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out." As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it and said, "If you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground, you and the children within your walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you." Alright, so there's a lot of stuff to cover in this chapter, so we're going to dive right in. Jesus starts us right off the bat with a miracle. He states to two of his disciples that they're going to go into the city and find a colt that no one has ever ridden before and bring it to him, and that if anyone questions them, they are to say, "The Lord needs it." This is pretty incredible. Imagine being a disciple. Jesus tells you exactly what's going to happen, and then it happens just as he said. How incredible would that be? And then, of course, they go to this stranger's house and they take their colt, and the owners say, "What are you doing? Why are you taking our colt?" And for them to say, "The Lord needs it," and for the owners to give it to them, I thought that was quite interesting. And then I was thinking about why the wording went, "The Lord needs it." Well, this is Jesus declaring that he is in fact the Lord of Israel. Pretty cool. But then, why a colt? Jesus was God. He's all-powerful. He could have come in riding on the powerful war horse. Or he could have come in on a colt, which he chose to do. And I didn't know why, and so I looked into it. First of all, in Jesus' time, kings would ride war horses if they were riding to war. If they came in peace, they would ride a donkey. In 1 Kings 1:33, Solomon, when he is first recognized as king of Israel, comes riding on a donkey. So this is like Jesus saying that he is the king of Israel. The second meaning behind it is that this is fulfilling a prophecy given in Zechariah 9, verses 9 to 10. Let's take a moment to read that now. "Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. I will take away the chariots from Ephraim, and the war horses from Jerusalem, and the battle bow will be broken. He will proclaim peace to the nations. His rule will extend from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth." The first part of that passage is telling Israel to rejoice because their king has come, riding on a donkey, showing that Jesus will rule in peace. Then it says that he will get rid of all the chariots, war horses, and bows, because they will become obsolete when Jesus rules his nation in peace. it says that he will preach reconciliation or peace to the nations. There will no longer be war, and his kingdom will stretch over the whole world with no enemies to oppose him. I thought that was very interesting to see this look into how Jesus was going to rule. That the Israelites believed that he was going to come in and liberate them from the Romans. Yet instead of riding on the war horse, he came in peace, to preach peace, to demonstrate peace and love, instead of mighty iron fist. The next part talks about how Palm Sunday got its name. Palm Sunday got its name from the palm branches that people laid down on the path as Jesus walked over them, on the path with their cloaks as well. And this is interesting. Of the 4 Gospels, Luke is the only one that doesn't mention the palm branches being laid down. He only mentions that people laid their cloaks. All the other Gospels say that people both laid down branches and their cloaks. I thought that was pretty interesting that he didn't think that that was a necessary detail to include in this story. And then later in the passage it says that the disciples were singing. The whole crowd was singing praises to God and to Jesus. And the Pharisees say, "Jesus, tell them to stop singing." And Jesus looks at them and says, "Well, even if they do stop, the rocks themselves will cry out." This was such a happy time that it deserved praise, and Jesus deserved praise, and God deserved praise for all the miracles that they had performed, that God had given Jesus the power to perform. And the praise was so deserving that even if the people stopped, the rocks would keep crying out. And this was a reminder to me as well, that if the rocks themselves will cry out, why do humans not? So often we as humans forget to take time out of our day to praise God for all the wonderful things he has done in our lives. And it reminded me that we must praise God for all things, just as all things praise God. Then the last bit of this passage I found quite interesting, because Luke is the only one of the Gospels, that has this next section. And when I first read it, I was quite surprised that it said that Israel would be destroyed because they did not listen when Jesus came. And that seemed pretty intense. But then I noticed a few words. Jesus wept. Jesus cried because he was so sad that the people he loved so much weren't going to follow him. And because of that, they would be destroyed. Later on in the Romans in 70 AD? Yes, 70 AD, they actually came and they destroyed, they overtook the Israeli Empire using an embankment, just as Jesus said. And that was because they did not accept Jesus. And later on Good Friday, they crucified him. Prayer is a Christian's most powerful tool. It connects us with God in heaven, and we are called to use it always. And so some prayer requests. It was recently brought to my attention in church that there is still a war going on in Ukraine, and there's a lot of pain and suffering and poverty in the country of Ukraine. So please, I encourage you to pray for the people there, that God would be with them and give them strength, and with the people who are there helping them, that they can have the resources they need and the support they need to continue doing the wonderful things that they are doing in helping the poor, suffering people of Ukraine. So please pray for them. And if you have any prayer requests, please let me know in the comments down below, or I'll put my email in the description, and you can send me an email, and I'll put it in the next video if you want. Or I can pray for you privately as well. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!